not at all. I think that both of us had good years, but sometimes you have to question what is the credentials for the MVP. No one really knows. How valuable you are to your team and to the league itself, and what you do to contribute to both of them.
Could a case be made for Michael Jordan then being the MVP?
Good case for both, actually. It was a great season for me. I don't know if I can ever have a season like this again.
I mean, you can't get any better as a player offensively, can you?
I hope not. I think that my offensive game has reached its peak right now in the way that I'm playing and the confidence that I have in my offensive game.
Behind the fire, the trash talk, and the obsession with winning, there was another side to Michael Jordan that fans rarely saw. The side that admired greatness, that respected loyalty, that remembered who helped shape him long before he became the symbol of perfection. For most of his career, Jordan built walls, emotional ones, competitive ones. But there were a few players who broke through, men he genuinely cared about, players who didn't just share the court with him. They earned a place in his trust, his admiration, and in some cases, his heart. These weren't about rivals or enemies. These were the few who made the game personal for all the right reasons. The friends who fought beside him, the icons who inspired him, the young star who reminded him of himself. These are the 5 players Michael Jordan truly loved the most. But before proceeding, please take a second and subscribe and like this video. It will be very motivation for us. Charles Oakley wasn't just a teammate to Michael Jordan. He was his enforcer, his brother, and his anchor during the early, unforgiving years of Jordan's NBA rise. When Jordan entered the league in 1984, he was a young star surrounded by veterans who didn't quite know how to handle his confidence and swagger. He needed someone who understood his edge and could protect it. That someone was Charles Oakley. Oakley joined the Chicago Bulls in 1985 after being drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers and immediately traded to Chicago. From the start, he made an impression, a 6'8", 240-pound power forward who didn't care about stats or headlines. He cared about toughness, loyalty, and keeping his teammates safe. For Jordan, that was everything. In an era when physical play ruled the NBA, when defenders could hammer you midair and barely get a whistle, Oakley was his bodyguard. He set brutal screens, cleared space, and sent a message to anyone who tried to push Jordan around. You're going to have to go through me first. Jordan admired that kind of loyalty. He was a perfectionist who pushed everyone, often to their breaking point. But Oakley never flinched. He gave it right back. If Jordan barked, Oakley barked louder. That mutual respect built an unshakable friendship that outlasted their time as teammates. Off the court, they were inseparable. They traveled together, ate together, and even dressed alike at times. Oakley was one of the few people who could joke with Jordan without crossing a line, and one of the few who could call him out directly. When Oakley spoke, Jordan listened. During their 3 seasons together in Chicago, 1985 to 88, Oakley was the Bulls' enforcer and leading rebounder, averaging nearly a double-double each year. But his real value wasn't on the stat sheet. It was in the attitude he brought to a young team trying to find its identity. He made the Bulls tougher. He made Jordan tougher. When Oakley was traded to the New York Knicks in 1988 for Bill Cartwright, Jordan was furious. He later said, "I hated that trade. Oakley was my best friend." The Bulls got the center they needed to build their championship core, but Jordan lost his on-court protector. Even after the trade, their bond never faded. In New York, Oakley became the heart of the Knicks' bruising defense, the same team that would become one of Jordan's fiercest rivals in the 90s. Yet, despite the playoff wars between Chicago and New York, their friendship remained intact. There were no cheap shots between them, no trash talk, no grudges, just mutual respect that transcended jerseys. Whenever they met on the court, the handshake before the game was genuine. The hits, the elbows, the physical play, all part of the job. Afterward, they'd often meet up, share a laugh, and move on like brothers who had just finished sparring. Jordan admired Oakley because he embodied everything Jordan valued: accountability, toughness, and loyalty. Oakley never chased fame or headlines. He showed up, did his job, and stood by his people. In a league full of politics and egos, Oakley was a constant. Even decades later, that loyalty never wavered. Oakley was a regular at Jordan's charity events, golf outings, and celebrations. When Jordan was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2009, Oakley sat in the front row, not just as a former teammate, but as one of the few people who had been with him since the beginning. And when Jordan became owner of the Charlotte Hornets, Oakley was there again, not as a player this time, but as a trusted confidant and friend. Their connection went beyond basketball. It was family. Charles Oakley wasn't the most skilled player Jordan ever played with. He wasn't the most famous. But to Jordan, he was one of the most important. Because when the league was rough, when the battles were personal, and when young Michael needed someone to have his back, Oakley never hesitated. And for a man like Michael Jordan, who respected strength, loyalty, and authenticity above all else, That kind of devotion meant more than any stat line ever could.
At the same time, the guy gave me an opportunity to perform at the highest level in terms of basketball. And the Bulls, the whole Bulls organization, they did a great justice for me and for all my teammates. Believe me, I had a lot of teammates over the 14 years that I played for the Bulls. And, I respected each and every one of them. I just wanted to win, no matter how you look at it.
Michael Jordan didn't hand out admiration easily. If you earned his respect, you did something special. And Magic Johnson earned it before Jordan ever stepped foot in the NBA. When Jordan was still a college kid at University of North Carolina, Magic was already basketball royalty, the face of Showtime, a 5-time champion, and the ultimate floor general. Magic's charisma, confidence, and ability to command a game inspired a young Jordan in ways few players could. Before there was His Airness, there was Magic, the player who made winning look joyful, almost effortless. Jordan has said it many times over the years. Magic was my guy. He watched him lead the Los Angeles Lakers to titles with flair and intelligence, admired his competitiveness, and studied how he led without fear. Magic wasn't just a point guard, he was an engine. And Jordan, even as a shooting guard, learned the power of dictating pace and confidence from him. Their first real connection came on the 1984 Olympic team trials, before Jordan's rookie season. Magic, already an NBA superstar, scrimmaged against Jordan and a group of young college players. That day, the legend of Jordan's competitiveness reached Magic's world. He was talking trash to me, Magic later laughed, and I was thinking, this kid's got something different. Over the next decade, their paths would collide on the biggest stages. The most iconic was the 1991 NBA Finals. Jordan's first championship appearance, Magic's last. It was a passing of the torch, not through words, but through competition. Magic's Lakers stole Game 1. But Jordan responded with a masterpiece in Game 2, that famous up and under layup, switching hands mid-air, a moment that symbolized the shift from Showtime to Air Jordan. After that series, which the Bulls won in 5, something changed between them. What had started as admiration evolved into genuine friendship. Magic could have been bitter. He was nearing the end of his prime while Jordan was ascending, but instead, he embraced him. He told reporters, "The league's in great hands. He's the best now." That humility, that willingness to celebrate someone else's greatness, meant the world to Jordan. The two shared an easy chemistry off the court. When Magic shocked the world by announcing his HIV diagnosis in 1991, Jordan was one of the first to reach out privately. He called Magic that same day, checking on him not as a rival, but as a brother. A year later, when Magic made his comeback for the 1992 All-Star Game, Jordan was right there beside him, smiling, clapping, celebrating as the arena erupted. That moment wasn't scripted, it was love. Then came the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. The Dream Team, the greatest collection of basketball talent ever assembled. Magic and Jordan, once rivals, now captained the same ship. Their scrimmages in Monte Carlo became legendary, full of trash talk, intensity, and brilliance. Magic, never shy, tried to test the young king. "If you don't turn into Air Jordan soon," he joked mid-game, "we're gonna blow you out." Jordan didn't smile. He just started scoring, fast, fadeaways, steals, dunks. The gym fell silent as Jordan took over, and when it ended, Magic laughed and said, "All right, I guess there's a new sheriff in town." That moment cemented their relationship. Mutual respect, born in fire, carried by love for the game. Magic became a mentor figure in spirit, not in play style, but in presence. Both men knew what it meant to carry the weight of a league. They'd both felt the pressure of expectation, the loneliness of fame, and the joy of proving everyone wrong. Jordan has often credited Magic, along with Larry Bird, as the two who set the standard he chased. When asked in interviews who influenced him most, Jordan said, "I wanted to be like Magic, the way he made everyone around him better. I just went about it differently." Even after retirement, their bond never faded. You'd see them laughing at All-Star weekends, playing golf together, or exchanging stories courtside. There's an ease between them that only two legends with shared scars can have. When Jordan turned 60, Magic was among the first to post a tribute calling him "my brother, the ultimate competitor, and the greatest to ever do it." For Jordan, loving Magic Johnson wasn't about friendship alone. It was about legacy. Magic represented everything he aspired to: excellence, leadership, showmanship, and winning at the highest level. But most importantly, Magic had shown him that greatness could still carry joy, that you could dominate the game and still make it beautiful. So when Jordan talks about the players he truly loved, Magic isn't just on the list, he's near the top. Because before Jordan became the face of basketball, Magic Johnson was the one who showed him what that looked like. If there was one player who reflected Michael Jordan's soul, not just his moves, it was Kobe Bryant. Jordan didn't just respect Kobe as a competitor. He loved him like a brother, a relentless mirror who spoke the same competitive language and lived by the same impossible standards. When Kobe entered the NBA in 1996, Jordan was already the face of the sport, closing in on his second three-peat. Most rookies approached him with reverence, whispering awe. Kobe didn't. He came at Jordan like he was trying to solve a puzzle. He needed to know how close he was to perfection. From their first game against each other, you could sense the current. Kobe attacked Jordan with no hesitation. Post-ups, fadeaways, challenges on defense. It wasn't arrogance, it was curiosity, hunger, and belief. And Jordan, instead of feeling disrespected, felt something rare, recognition. Later, he laughed about it. That kid, he said, he just wouldn't back down. I loved it. For Jordan, seeing someone so young carry that kind of fearlessness was like watching his own reflection, just a few years removed. Kobe had grown up idolizing Jordan. He studied hours of film, mimicking not just the jump shot, but the angles of the footwork, the shoulder fakes, even the pauses between dribbles. He absorbed everything, not as imitation, but as education. He tried to understand why Jordan's moves worked, how he dictated rhythm, how he turned pressure into control. And the remarkable part? Jordan never took offense. He admired the obsession. He recognized it because he lived it. The two shared the same kind of tunnel vision, the kind that burned away distractions and demanded absolute devotion. Jordan later said, "Kobe was the only player who could ever get in my head, not because he talked trash, but because he was the only one crazy enough to work like me." That's what made their relationship unique. It wasn't mentor and student, it was master and mirror. Their duels in the late 90s were electric. December 1997, Bulls versus Lakers at the United Center. Kobe, just 19, put up 33 points. Jordan answered with 36 and a win. The crowd cheered every possession like it was a championship game. Afterward, Jordan told reporters, "That kid's gonna have a great career and he works hard, real hard." It wasn't empty praise. It was acknowledgement from one obsessive to another. Over time, the competition evolved into communication. By the early 2000s, they talked often. Late-night calls, quiet texts, long conversations about footwork, mindset, and life after the noise. Jordan once joked, "Kobe would text me at 3 a.m., asking about post moves." He was relentless. But the truth was, Jordan loved it. He'd found someone who cared as deeply as he did. When Kobe reached his own championship peak with the Los Angeles Lakers, Jordan wasn't threatened. He was proud. He'd already seen what few could, how much pain, discipline, and sacrifice went into carrying a franchise to glory. Kobe was living that same weight, and Jordan admired how he handled it. The connection between them ran beyond stats or titles. It was about purpose. Both men built their lives around basketball, and both understood that love for the game came with isolation. They didn't need to explain that to each other. They just knew. When tragedy struck in 2020 and Kobe passed away, the world turned to Jordan for words. His speech at the memorial stripped away the myth of Air Jordan and left only the man. Tears streamed down his face as he said, "Kobe was my little brother. When he died, a piece of me died too." That wasn't ceremony, it was truth. Jordan wasn't mourning just a friend. He was mourning the one person who had understood him completely. The intensity, the joy, the cost. The person who loved the game as fiercely as he did. Kobe carried Jordan's fire into a new generation. He kept the art alive, the footwork, the mid-range mastery, the mentality that greatness demanded more than talent. And when fans compared them endlessly, Jordan never rejected it. He smiled, because in Kobe's evolution, he saw proof that his own legacy would live on. He once said, "Everyone always wanted to know who would win one-on-one between us. But I'll tell you this, Kobe steals all my moves, so he wins." It was playful, but it came from love, the kind that only exists between two people who share the same obsession. Kobe Bryant wasn't just someone Michael Jordan admired, he was someone he felt, the fire that never cooled, the focus that never blinked, the echo of himself in a different era. And that's why, among all the players Jordan loved, Kobe wasn't just a peer or a protege. He was family, proof that greatness recognizes greatness, even when it's looking back in the mirror.
In the game of basketball, in life, as a parent, Kobe left nothing in the tank. He left it all on the floor. Maybe it surprised people that Kobe and I were very close friends.
Before Michael Jordan was Air Jordan, there was Julius Irving, Dr. J, the man who made flight look effortless, grace look powerful, and basketball feel like art. For Jordan, Julius Irving wasn't just a player he admired, he was the prototype, the first basketball hero who showed him that greatness could also be beautiful. As a kid growing up in Wilmington, North Carolina, Jordan watched Irving soar through the air and saw the future he wanted. Long before dunk contests, endorsements, or global fame, Dr. J embodied everything that inspired young Michael: creativity, control, and charisma. When kids on playgrounds tried to mimic moves, they weren't saying, "I'm Jordan." They were saying, "I'm Dr. J." Jordan often said he wanted to play above the rim, and Irving was the reason why. Before Dr. J, dunking was a show of power. After Dr. J, it became poetry. That elegance, that ability to combine artistry with dominance, would shape Jordan's entire approach to the game. When Jordan entered the NBA in 1984, Irving was nearing the end of his career, but his legend still loomed large. Jordan's rookie year included one unforgettable moment: his first game against the Philadelphia 76ers and Julius Irving. Jordan later said, "That was surreal. I'd watched him for years, and suddenly I was on the same court." That game was symbolic, one era handing the torch to the next. Irving was 34, Jordan 21. The Sixers were the established dynasty. The Bulls were still finding their way. But what struck Irving wasn't Jordan's talent, it was his attitude. Afterward, Dr. J told reporters, "He's going to be a great one. He plays with no fear." That endorsement, coming from his idol, meant more to Jordan than any early accolade. The two would meet several more times before Irving retired in 1987, and each game felt like teacher and student trading lessons in the air. Irving's graceful glide was met by Jordan's explosive burst. One represented basketball's evolution, the other was its next step forward. Off the court, their relationship became one of mutual admiration. Jordan often credited Irving with shaping his sense of professionalism and composure. Dr. J carried himself with dignity, never too high, never too low. And Jordan noticed the way Irving treated fans, handled media, and respected the game left an impression that Jordan carried throughout his own global superstardom. Jordan once said, "Dr. J was elegance. He was the model for how to be a professional." That was important because in the early years of his fame, Jordan faced immense pressure and scrutiny. He saw how easily a star could lose balance, but when he thought about how to carry himself, he thought of Irving: the class, the calm, the constant respect for the sport. What made Jordan's love for Irving even deeper was the lineage between them. In a sense, Irving walked so Jordan could run. When the NBA merged with the ABA in 1976, Dr. J brought flair and creativity into a league that had been all about fundamentals and defense. He made basketball entertainment. A decade later, Jordan took that same idea and elevated it to a global level. It's no coincidence that Jordan's first signature moments, the cradle dunk, the slam contest flights, the hang time finishes, all felt like tributes to Dr. J's style. The reverse layups, the mid-air adjustments, those weren't accidents. They were continuations of what Irving had started. Even after Irving retired, Jordan kept in touch and never stopped giving him credit. When asked who influenced his game the most, he said without hesitation, "Dr. J. He's the one who showed us how to play with style and how to make it look easy." In 1997, during the NBA's 50th anniversary ceremony, the two legends stood side by side in their gold jackets, smiling like family. Jordan called it one of the proudest moments of my career. For him, being recognized alongside Irving wasn't just an honor, it was proof that the man he once watched on television had become a peer, a friend, and a lifelong inspiration. Their friendship remained warm and genuine through the years. When Jordan was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, Dr. J was there, smiling proudly. And when asked years later what he admired most about Jordan, Irving replied, "He never lost his passion for the game. That's what I see in him. The same thing I felt when I played." That mutual admiration came full circle. Jordan grew up wanting to be like Irving, to fly like him, to inspire like him. And in the end, Irving looked back at Jordan with the same pride a teacher feels for a student who surpassed him. For Michael Jordan, Julius Irving represented more than a hero. He was the original blueprint, the man who proved that basketball could be both ruthless and beautiful, that greatness didn't have to sacrifice grace. And decades later, when Jordan talks about the players he truly loved, he still speaks of Dr. J with the reverence of a fan, because no matter how high Michael Jordan flew, he never forgot who first showed him how to take off.
I think I'm going to be competitive. I know I have a lot of respect for the man as much as anyone else would. And once he retired from the game, he has gone back and basically tried to live a normal life, because I rarely do I hear much about him except for the the one-on-one thing with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But until then, people say, "Where's Dr. J?"
Before the world knew His Airness, Michael Jordan had his own basketball hero, David Thompson. Long before Jordan dominated the NBA, before he became a global icon. He was just a kid in Wilmington, North Carolina, watching a high-flying guard from North Carolina State University do things no one else could. Thompson wasn't just a player Jordan admired. He was the player who made Jordan believe flight was possible. In the 1970s, before Jordan was even a teenager, David Skywalker Thompson was basketball's first true vertical phenomenon. Standing just 6 feet 4 inches, he could soar with the big men, dunk over anyone, and hang in the air like gravity forgot him. He combined raw athleticism with an attacking style that would later define Jordan's own game. Watching him, Jordan saw a glimpse of the future, his future. Jordan has said countless times that Thompson was his childhood idol. "He was my hero," he once told reporters. "I wanted to be David Thompson." When other kids were pretending to be Dr. J, Jordan was out on the playgrounds in Wilmington pretending to be Skywalker, practicing dunks and fadeaways in his image. The connection between them deepened years later, when Jordan reached out to Thompson for a reason that shocked even him. He asked his idol to introduce him at his Basketball Hall of Fame induction ceremony in 2009. It was a full-circle moment. The man who had once inspired a young boy to dream now stood on stage to welcome that boy into basketball immortality. Jordan explained the decision simply. "When you think about who influenced your life the most, it was David Thompson. He was North Carolina basketball before I was." That was Jordan at his most sincere. No bravado, no rivalry, just admiration and gratitude. To understand how deep that respect ran, you have to look at who Thompson was in his era. Before injuries and off-court struggles shortened his career, David Thompson was a force. At NC State, he led his team to the 1974 NCAA championship, ending UCLA's 7-year dynasty. He was the NCAA Player of the Year twice and one of the most explosive scorers college basketball had ever seen. In the pros, Thompson continued to shine. Playing for the Denver Nuggets and Seattle Supersonics, he became a 4-time All-Star and 2-time All-NBA selection. In 1978, he scored 73 points in a single game, still one of the highest marks in NBA history. That performance, delivered with control and grace, was the stuff of legend. For a young Jordan, who was still finding his way in high school, Thompson represented everything he aspired to become: unstoppable, fearless, and elevated both physically and mentally above his peers. But what truly connected Jordan to Thompson wasn't just the highlights, it was how he played. Thompson attacked the rim with purpose. He played bigger than his size, with a hang time and body control that made him look like he was defying nature. Jordan would later refine those very qualities, turning them into his own trademark. In many ways, Jordan didn't just admire Thompson, he inherited his game. There's a poetic symmetry between their careers. Thompson came from Shelby, North Carolina, not far from where Jordan grew up. Both carried their state's basketball pride into the national spotlight. Both played with a quiet intensity, avoiding theatrics, but commanding every inch of the floor. Both saw basketball not just as competition, but as expression, a chance to turn athleticism into art. By the time Jordan entered college at University of North Carolina, Thompson's career had already begun to decline due to injuries and personal battles. But even then, Jordan spoke of him with reverence. "He was my inspiration," Jordan told reporters before his Hall of Fame induction. "Every move I made came from watching him." When Thompson stepped on that stage in Springfield to induct him, he gave a short, humble speech that said it all. "It's a great honor that Michael asked me to do this. I'm proud of what he's accomplished, and proud that I could play even a small part in his journey." Jordan sat in the front row, eyes wet, nodding as his hero spoke. That moment wasn't about basketball history. It was about legacy and gratitude. Jordan had been compared to everyone: Magic, Bird, Kobe, LeBron. But when it came to the player he loved, the one he owed his own fire to, it was David Thompson. After the ceremony, Jordan reflected, "When I was growing up, I didn't have YouTube or highlight reels. I had David Thompson. Watching him made me want to fly." It's easy to forget now, decades later, that Jordan's story didn't begin with championships and shoe deals. It began with awe, a boy staring at a TV screen, watching a Carolina native glide above the rim, and realizing that basketball could be something more than a game. That's why, even after surpassing every expectation, Jordan never stopped honoring Thompson, because in his mind, he didn't just love the player. He loved what the player gave him, the belief that flight was possible, that greatness could come from North Carolina, and that the game could be both graceful and ruthless, all at once. David Thompson wasn't just Jordan's favorite, he was the spark that lit the fire, the original flight that made Air Jordan possible. And that's what made David Thompson so special to Michael Jordan, not just as a player, but as the spark that set his entire journey in motion. But love isn't the only thing that shaped basketball history. Sometimes, greatness was so overwhelming that the league itself had to change just to keep up. So if you want to see how legends like Wilt, Shaq, and Jordan himself bent the game until the rules had to evolve, check out my next video, Top 6 NBA Players That Forced Rule Changes. It's the story of dominance so powerful, even the rulebook couldn't contain it. Please do not forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments section. If you still did not subscribe to the channel, please do subscribe.